What if the reason people don't respect you has nothing to do with your talent, your intelligence, or even your success, but with 7 silent behaviors you practice every single day without realizing it? Look around you for a moment. Think about the people who walk into a room and instantly command attention. They don't beg for approval. They don't raise their voices. They don't chase validation. Yet somehow, everyone listens when they speak. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Respect is never given out of sympathy. It is a response, a reaction, a natural human instinct towards someone who signals strength, clarity, and emotional certainty. But most people are trained backwards. You were told to be nice so people would like you. You were told to say yes so you wouldn't disappoint anyone. You were told to stay quiet to avoid conflict. And slowly, without noticing, you taught the world to overlook you. Respect begins the moment you stop negotiating your worth. Let me ask you something difficult. When you walk into a space, do you shrink or do you settle? Do you wait to be acknowledged or do you ground yourself with quiet confidence? Because the strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. It is the one who is completely comfortable being seen. Behavior number 1 is this: stop explaining yourself unnecessarily. Constant explanations signal doubt. Doubt tells people you are unsure. And when people sense uncertainty, they hesitate to trust your leadership, even in small moments. You don't owe everyone a detailed defense of your choices. Mature individuals make decisions, communicate them clearly, and allow others to react however they choose. Notice something. Respected people are not stubborn, but they are decisive. They listen carefully, adjust when wisdom demands it, yet they never crumble under the weight of someone else's opinion. There's a calm finality in the way they speak. I've thought about it. This is the direction I'm choosing. I understand your view. No drama. No apology for existing. Here is a story. Early in my career, I watched a young leader get questioned aggressively during a meeting. The room was tense. Everyone expected him to panic and start justifying every tiny detail. Instead, he paused, took a breath, and said, "That's a fair concern. Here's what we're going to do next." And not defensive, not emotional, just grounded. The energy in the room shifted instantly. Respect is often decided in moments like these, moments when your nervous system wants to rush, but you choose steadiness. Understand this clearly. When you over-explain, you seek permission. When you speak with clarity, you signal ownership, and ownership is magnetic. From today forward, practice the discipline of the pause. When pressured, don't speed up, slow down. When challenged, don't unravel, anchor yourself. Because the world does not respect hesitation. It respects certainty paired with humility. What is the fastest way to lose respect without ever noticing it? It is not failure. It is not weakness. It is inconsistency. Behavior number 2 is simple, but rare. Do what you say you are going to do. Most people underestimate how closely others watch their patterns. People may forget your words, but they never forget your reliability. Every kept promise deposits trust. Every broken one withdraws it. And the dangerous part is this: withdrawals compound faster than deposits. If you say you will call, call. If you commit to showing up, arrive early. If you accept responsibility, carry it fully. Reliability is one of the clearest signals of inner discipline. Think about the people you respect most. Chances are they are predictable in the best possible way. Their mood does not swing wildly. Their values do not change depending on who is in the room. Their standards do not collapse under pressure. There is safety around them. Human beings are constantly scanning their environment, asking one silent question: can I trust what to expect from you? When the answer is yes, respect grows automatically. When the answer is uncertain, people keep their distance. Let me share something I learned after working with high-performing teams. Talent impresses people briefly. Consistency earns devotion over time. Anyone can be extraordinary once, fueled by motivation, adrenaline, or the desire to prove something. But showing up with the same level of care on ordinary days, that is where credibility is built. There was a manager I once observed who was not the smartest person in the company, not the most charismatic, not even the most experienced. But every single week, without fail, he prepared, he followed through, he protected his team, and when problems appeared, he did not disappear. After a year, something fascinating happened. People stopped questioning his decisions. They trusted his judgment before he even spoke. Respect had become automatic. Here is the deeper principle: consistency removes emotional noise. Others do not have to waste energy guessing which version of you they will encounter. You become steady ground in a world full of uncertainty. But understand this: consistency is not about perfection. You will make mistakes. Everyone does. The key is ownership. When you fall short, acknowledge it quickly. Correct it visibly. Learn from it openly. Nothing destroys respect faster than defensiveness, and nothing restores it faster than accountability. So start small. Keep the tiny promises you usually ignore, the email you said you would send, the habit you said you would build, the boundary you hold. Have you ever noticed how the most respected person in the room is often the one who speaks the least, yet when they do speak, everyone leans in? Behavior number 3 is this: master the power of calm presence. We live in a world addicted to noise. People rush to fill silence because silence feels uncomfortable. They interrupt, they overtalk, they react instantly, and without realizing it, they drain their authority. But calm signals control. When your emotions are stable, people assume your thinking is stable. And when your thinking appears stable, trust begins to form before you even prove yourself. Let me challenge you with something. The next time you feel the urge to jump into a conversation just to be heard, pause. Ask yourself, am I adding value or am I chasing visibility? Because respect does not come from being the most heard. It comes from being the most meaningful. There is a quiet confidence in people who do not compete for airtime. They listen fully. They observe what others miss. And when they finally contribute, their words carry weight because they are intentional. I once watched a negotiation where two executives argued endlessly, each trying to dominate the conversation. Voices grew sharper. Defensiveness filled the space. Progress stalled. At the far end of the table sat a woman who had barely spoken for 20 minutes. Some probably assumed she had little to offer. Then she leaned forward and calmly said, "It sounds like both sides want the same outcome, but fear losing control of the process. What if we designed a structure that protects both?" The room went silent, not because she was loud, but because she was clear. Within minutes, the tension dissolved, and the meeting moved toward resolution. That is the power of calm presence. It cuts through emotional fog. Understand this: emotional reactivity is often mistaken for passion, but leaders know the difference between intensity and instability. When you react impulsively, you hand your emotional steering wheel to someone else. Anyone can provoke you. Anyone can control the direction of the moment. But when you respond thoughtfully, you demonstrate something rare: self-leadership. And people instinctively respect those who can lead themselves. Here is a practical shift you can begin today. Slow your physical movements slightly. Maintain steady eye contact. Let others finish speaking without preparing your reply mid-sentence. You will be amazed how quickly your perceived authority changes. Stillness is not weakness. It is contained strength. Storms are loud. Mountains are quiet. Be the mountain. Remember, respect is rarely demanded through force. It is invited through emotional steadiness. Behavior number 4 may surprise you because it sounds almost too simple to matter. Yet it separates those who are merely liked from those who are deeply respected. Tell the truth, especially when it is uncomfortable, not brutal honesty. Not careless words thrown without empathy, but grounded, courageous truth delivered with clarity and respect. Most people avoid truth because they fear tension. They sugarcoat feedback. They nod in agreement when they secretly disagree. They stay silent when something is clearly misaligned. And in the moment, it feels easier. But over time, something subtle happens. People stop trusting their yes because they sense the hidden no. Respect cannot grow where authenticity is missing. Think about it. When someone always tells you what you want to hear, a quiet doubt forms in your mind. You begin to wonder what they are not saying. You question their sincerity. Their approval starts to feel cheap. But when someone is known for speaking truth with care, their words carry enormous credibility. Here is the paradox: honesty may create temporary discomfort, but dishonesty creates permanent distance. I remember a product team on the verge of launching something they had worked on for over a year. Everyone was excited, energy was high, leadership wanted momentum. During the final review, one designer spoke up. Her voice was steady, but you could feel the risk she was taking. "I believe we are solving the wrong problem," she said. The room tightened instantly. You could almost hear hearts beating faster. Challenging a nearly finished project is not the safe move in most organizations. She could have stayed quiet. Many would have. Instead, she walked them through her reasoning, calmly, respectfully, without ego. She wasn't trying to be right. She was trying to get it right. After a long discussion, something remarkable happened. They discovered she was correct. Catching that mistake saved the company months of wasted effort and an enormous amount of money. But more importantly, it reshaped how everyone saw her. From that day forward, when she spoke, people listened differently, because courage is unforgettable. Understand this clearly respectful truth. Tellers become anchors in uncertain environments. People may not always agree with them, but they trust that what they hear is real. Now, this requires emotional intelligence. Timing matters, tone matters, intention matters. Truth without empathy feels like aggression. Empathy without truth feels like manipulation. The balance is where respect lies. So the next time you feel that internal hesitation, that small voice saying, "Should I say this?" pause and examine it. Are you silent to protect the outcome or to protect your comfort? One is leadership, the other is avoidance. Speak with clarity. Speak with care. Remember, people rarely respect the safest voice in the room. Behavior number 5 is one that many people misunderstand, because at first glance it can look like stubbornness. It can even look like distance. But in reality, it is one of the strongest signals of self-respect you will ever communicate. Stop trying to be liked by everyone. The moment you organize your life around approval, you quietly hand over your freedom. Your decisions begin to bend toward expectations. Your voice softens when it should be firm. Your boundaries blur when they should be clear. And people feel that. Here is something important to understand. Respect and likability do not grow from the same root. Likability often comes from comfort. Respect comes from conviction. Comfort says, "Tell me what keeps things easy." Conviction says, "Tell me what is right." The people who earn deep respect are not difficult for the sake of being difficult. They are simply unwilling to betray their values just to avoid friction. There was a senior leader I once met who had a reputation for being incredibly fair, but also incredibly firm. When she made a decision aligned with her principles, she did not reverse it simply because someone important pushed back. One afternoon, a high-performing employee demanded an exception to a policy that applied to everyone else. On paper, granting it would have been convenient. It would have avoided conflict. It might even have protected short-term results. She listened carefully, thanked him for his contributions, and then calmly said, "If I change the standard for one person, the standard stops meaning anything. No anger, no defensiveness, just clarity." The employee was frustrated in the moment, but something deeper happened across the organization. People watched, they saw that fairness was not negotiable, and trust expanded. Understand this, when your behavior is guided by values instead of popularity, people know where you stand. Predictability creates psychological safety. Others don't have to guess whether your integrity will shift depending on the audience. Now, this does not mean becoming cold or unapproachable. Warmth and strength are not opposites. In fact, the most respected individuals combine both. They are kind, but they are not easily swayed. They are open, but they are not easily pressured. Ask yourself a difficult question: where in your life are you saying yes when your inner voice is clearly saying no? Every time you ignore that voice, you chip away at your own self-trust. And when self-trust weakens, others sense it immediately. But when your yes is true and your no is firm, something powerful happens. Your words gain weight. Not everyone will agree with you. That is not the goal. The goal is alignment, living in a way that lets people experience you as real. Because approval is fragile. It disappears the moment you disappoint someone. Respect is different. Respect grows when people realize you cannot be quietly talked out of who you are. Behavior number 6 is subtle, yet it instantly elevates how others perceive you. It is the discipline of taking responsibility, fully, visibly, and without excuses. Most people spend an extraordinary amount of energy protecting their image. When something goes wrong, their first instinct is to explain why it wasn't really their fault. They point to the circumstances. They point to the timing. They point to other people. And in doing so, they unknowingly signal something dangerous. You cannot rely on me when outcomes are uncertain. But the individuals who command respect operate from a completely different mindset. They understand that responsibility is not about blame. It is about ownership. Ownership says, this happened under my watch, so I will deal with it. There is strength in that sense. There is maturity in that posture. I once observed a project collapse just days before a major presentation. Deadlines were missed. Details slipped through the cracks. The room filled quickly with tension as senior leaders asked what had gone wrong. One manager began listing all the external factors: supplier delays, unclear instructions, unexpected changes. Every explanation sounded reasonable, yet something felt off. The more he defended, the less confident people became. Then another leader spoke. She didn't rush. She didn't decorate her words. She simply said, "I should have caught this earlier. That's on me. Here is how we are fixing it, and here is what will prevent it from happening again." Notice what just happened. In a single moment, the conversation shifted from fault to solution, from chaos to direction. No one questioned her capability after that. In fact, trust deepened, not because she was perfect, but because she was accountable. Understand this clearly: people do not expect flawlessness from you. What they expect is reliability in how you respond to flaws. Excuses erode respect because they focus on preserving ego. Ownership builds respect because it focuses on protecting the mission. And here is the deeper layer. When you take responsibility, you demonstrate emotional security. You show that your identity is not so fragile that it cannot withstand a mistake. Secure people learn faster because they are not busy hiding. There is another powerful side effect. Ownership is contagious. When a leader models it, others begin to mirror it. Teams become more honest. Problems surface earlier. Growth accelerates. So the next time something goes sideways, resist the urge to immediately explain. Pause. Ask yourself, where's my part in this? Even if it is only 10%, claim the 10. Because responsibility is not a burden. It is a declaration of strength. Remember, anyone can step forward when things are going well. Respect is reserved for those who step forward when things are not. Behavior number 7 is often overlooked because it does not announce itself loudly. It does not demand attention. Yet the moment you embody it, people feel it almost instantly. Protect your boundaries. Many people hear the word boundaries and assume it means building walls, pushing others away, or becoming rigid. But healthy boundaries are not about distance. They are about clarity. They quietly teach others how to treat you. When you tolerate constant interruptions, people learn your time is negotiable. When you accept disrespect disguised as humor, people learn your dignity is flexible. When you repeatedly sacrifice your priorities to satisfy everyone else, people learn your energy is available without limit. And here is the uncomfortable truth: what you allow will continue. Respect begins where self-abandonment ends. There was a young professional who once shared something with me. He was talented, hardworking, and eager to prove himself. Because of that eagerness, he said yes to everything. Late meetings, last-minute requests, responsibilities that were never truly his. At first, everyone praised his dedication. But over time, something shifted. The extra effort stopped being appreciated and started being expected. His workload doubled, then tripled. Stress followed him home. Resentment quietly grew. One day, exhausted and frustrated, he asked, "Why does no one respect my time?" The answer was difficult, but necessary, because you haven't shown them that it deserves protection. So he began making small changes. When a meeting had no clear purpose, he asked for one before accepting. When deadlines were unrealistic, he negotiated them early instead of suffering silently. When his focus hours were blocked, he treated them as commitments rather than suggestions. Something fascinating happened. People adjusted faster than he expected. Not because they suddenly became more considerate, because clarity removes confusion. Others often push only until they discover where the line is. Understand this. Boundaries are not ultimatums delivered with anger. The strongest boundaries are calm, respectful, and consistent. I'm not available at that time. I can help tomorrow. That doesn't align with my priorities right now. No hostility, no long justifications, just calm certainty. And here's the deeper insight. Every time you honor your own boundary, you strengthen your self-trust. When self-trust grows, your presence changes. You speak differently, you decide faster, you carry yourself with quiet authority. People sense when someone values their own time, energy, and principles. It signals emotional maturity. But remember this balance: boundaries should protect what matters, not isolate you from collaboration. The goal is not control, it is sustainability, because a person without boundaries eventually runs out of strength. And the world instinctively respects those who know where they end and where others begin. Now here is something most people never realize. Respect is not built only through what you do. It is equally built through what you refuse to tolerate inside your own mind. Behavior number 8 is this: do not seek validation. Generate self